Should have known it wouldn't be as easy as just driving down the road. Looks like we'll have to take a detour. A radio tower. If it's working, we need to send a warning to White Forest. They've got no idea the Combine's heading their way.
Even though this compound appears open and non-linear, we're striving for a fairly reliable progression of events so that we can fine-tune pacing. The building on the right is bright and eye-catching, with the intention of drawing the player there first. The entrance to the ruin building is around the back, so that initial exploration through the center of the compound tends to lead to the radio room first. The drop-down entrance from the roof of the ruin building also helps us pace the experience, because players are cautious about committing to a space until they've explored the alternatives.
Well, here's the transmitter. Power though. Keep a lookout while you poke around inside.
This room is designed so that the player will notice the main set of plugs right away, but is less likely to spot the second set at first. One end of the long cable is already plugged in, encouraging the player to grab the loose end and put it into the powered socket. This makes the faulty wire break loose and spark. With the power on, players try to return upstairs only to discover that now the elevator needs power. At this point, they look about more carefully and discover the elevator sockets. The short cord is tucked next to the elevator sockets, so that they're likely to try to use it there first, before realizing they need a longer one. Given this fairly reliable progression of events, we were able to write a limited number of lines for Alex so that she could react each time the puzzle changed state.
In earlier versions of the Hunter intro, the Hunters burst physically into the room by shouldering their way through the door. As the Hunter's flechette attack came online, we decided this was no longer appropriate. Now that the Hunter had an effective ranged attack, having him burst into the room with you actually put him into his least viable tactical position during your very first encounter, making him seem ineffective and a bit dumb. The current design is intended to showcase his abilities while giving the player the time and space to understand the situation before pushing out into close combat.
The scene where Alex sees the Hunters for the first time since her injury is going to be a turning point for her as a character, and an emotional highlight for the episode, both for Gordon and for Alex. One reason we had a Hunter injure Alex in the beginning of the episode was so she could have a strong emotional reaction to the creatures, and use the start of combat as a way of building a good character. Alex's previous encounters gave her a visceral fear of Hunter, but now she has to make a conscious choice to get past her fear and be in the right state for fighting. She uses anger to get there. We also use Alex's intensity to draw the player's attention to subtler aspects of the scene, getting the player in position for the best view of the Hunters as the attack gets underway.
Oh, the other thing that's so great about acting for video games, it's voiceover in general, but for this particular game, is so amazing. I don't have to worry about hitting my mark, or playing to the camera, or forgetting my lines. That's usually my biggest thing. You can see the wheels turning on camera because I'm trying to keep up with my lines. But this, they're all right there, so I don't even have to worry about that, and I can just worry about the delivery, the emotional vibe that needs to come across, and just be the sense of immediacy. I don't even have to worry about the words. So that takes a whole other level off to let the actor just get down and into the work, which is really, really great. It's just why I love this job.
This area was designed to train the player in the art of hunter combat, and during the development process it changed continually to suit the hunter's behavior. The first hunter prototypes could be killed only by the blunt impact of physics objects. Therefore, to make sure the player learned this technique, we trapped him in this area with one hunter and kept him locked in until he defeated it. Upon the hunter's death, reinforcements broke down the gate and doors, opening up the arena. As time went on and the hunter was modified to make it vulnerable to all types of damage, our grip on the player gradually relaxed, permitting freedom of movement and a wider range of tactics right from the start of the encounter.
Wow. We should get our warning out and then keep moving. That was probably a scouting party. Here it is. Okay.
In this brief transmission scene, we are restating the goals of the level, while introducing a note of uncertainty and developing Dr. Magnusson's character.
White Forest, do you read?
This scene was not strictly necessary, but it helped players feel some connection to Dr. Magnusson when they finally reached White Forest, and met him in person for the first time. In earlier versions, we tried having the hunters cut the power and interrupt the transmission, but this felt arbitrary. Players were more receptive to the scene after they had solved the power puzzles and survived hunter combat. It feels like a small reward in addition to the simple satisfaction of beating the hunter.
You're breaking up, Alex! What?
Crap. I wonder if we got any of that. Let's get back on the road. Here, let me open the gate. I know that peak. You can see it from White Forest. We're heading the right way.
This crashed advisor pod is a bit of storytelling embedded in the landscape. It hints at what lies ahead, while suggesting what must have happened in this location only a few hours before Gordon and Alex arrived. By placing artifacts of this sort throughout the episode, we slowly bring advisors into the foreground and develop their importance to the story in a way that doesn't depend on stage dramatic scenes.
What was that?
The barn scene was critical both to this episode and to the development of advisors as characters in the series. They represent another intersection of story and gameplay concerns. This is the first time the player actually interacts with an advisor, and determining the right level of interactivity was tricky, especially given the player's reasonable expectation that he'll get to fight them directly at some point.
Sorry about this.
Therefore, we wanted to show that they were powerful, but not invulnerable. This was a long-term goal. For the short term, we wanted to get the player familiar with some advisor behavior, so that when the episode finale occurred, they would already understand how advisors operate. By showing the advisor fumbling with an inert object, then a dead rebel, and finally grabbing the player, we allow the player to observe behavior and then gradually make it more and more of a direct threat. This all serves as foreshadowing for the episode's finale.
This swirling debris effect uses much of the same underlying technology that powers our other cinematic physics events in Episode 2, but with a few important differences. Firstly, instead of using primitives, every slat, pile and beam was modeled before being sent to rigid body soldering. Next, there was a large focus on hand sculpting world forces in order to achieve a particular behavior in the debris. Beyond the basics of gravity and collisions, we created spiral vortices, gravity wells, and some other more complex forces. With over 1,800 individually calculated dynamic moving parts for a 30-second period, this simulation represents the largest amount of animation data run through our game engines to date.
Oh my God. Gordon. Thank God you're all right. That thing was hurt. Did you see it? I can only imagine. Uh-oh. Sounds like it called its friends. Soldiers!
We've gotten better at building combat spaces that are open and tactically versatile, while still directing the player toward an optimal play experience. This combat is on its face pretty straightforward, but we're doing some subtle things to keep the experience even and well-paced. We're using quite a few of our combat tools in this one scene. As the first soldiers enter the barn, we send them in the right direction with an initial cue about the player's location using an NPC enemy combo. The first soldiers serve primarily to draw the player outwards, where the real meat of the combat takes place. The wave of soldiers that spawns as the player rounds the corner to the exit are the most directly controlled. One pair uses assault points to dash across the open ground and flank the player on the right. Others are constrained to hit groups in and around the house across the way, spaced so that the player is hit with an even front of fire, keeping them pinned for a while and encouraging cautious sniping and probing at the windows and doors. The broken down truck gives a vital bit of mid-ground cover as players leave the barn and advance on the house. Finally, as the player leaves the barn, we spawn the reinforcing hunter. We hold this back both to keep the difficulty more even and because the hunter combat is better when the player is pushed outwards before it begins.
Playtesters love to see the zombie jump on the front of the car, and this naturally encouraged us to want to do more of it. We started off with a high frequency of occurrences of this behavior, treating the zombie loop as a gameplay element that could be played out in variations. Eventually, though, we discovered that this didn't lead to any really interesting gameplay, so we ended up creating just one memorable showcase of the event instead.
Having solved the problem of getting Alex into the passenger seat, we were faced with the challenge of making her a useful companion. When we first hooked up her vehicle combat, Alex constantly targeted and fired her gun at everything. This made her feel a bit like a turret. In response, We tuned her behaviour so that while the vehicle is moving, Alex fires more slowly, taking more time to aim at high speeds.
Since you brought that chopper in on your tail, you want to maybe help us take it down?
Oh, with pleasure.
Originally, Episode 2 Chopper Battle was a classic fight that relied on the use of the RPG. In the meantime, we were experimenting with a completely new way of fighting the chopper, which we had hoped to have ready for Episode 3. The early Episode 3 experiments were so successful that we pulled them straight into Episode 2.
Boy, are we glad to see you guys.
Whoa. That was amazing. The way you threw their minds right back at them. Well, I could sure use a drink. Who's with me?
We need to get back on the road, but our engine's shot to hell. I don't suppose you got any tools for working on cars.
Tools? Got a whole shop over here. Come on, we'll get you set up.
I give the Combine a lot of credit, though. They're tough competitors. A real class act.
Shut up.
Originally, there was a second driving section between the chopper battle and the autogun trenches. The pacing felt wrong, so we decided to remove it and connect the end pieces so that the train yard opens directly into the garage.
We normally run supplies out of the White Forest base, but a few days ago the Combine cut off access.
What do you think? Maybe while I'm getting the car fixed up, you can see about clearing up that roadblock.
All the fresh zombies coming out of City 17 had kept them pinned down. It's just a matter of time till the troops start pushing this way. If you think you're up to it, we'll let you out there.
Huh. He's always up for it. Right, Gordon?
We got a trap door up here where I can let you over to the other side. That way you'll get to see the gun before it sees you.
Hey, don't worry about us. See this car? We're fixing it up and getting the hell out of here. Driving to Hawaii. Beaches, babes, and waves. Tell you what, if you ever get sick of this rebel crap, you know who to talk to.
Playtesters often failed to recognize that they could scramble through windows while they were avoiding being shot by the autogun. We added this window exit, and forced players to use it so that they would learn to rely on windows to get around.
Some playtesters didn't realize that they would need to climb over trucks to navigate around the autogun emplacement, so we added this truck jump early in the level as a form of introductory training.
In order to train players that crouching through the trenches is critical for survival, we did several things. First, we start the player in the safe position by forcing them to crouch under the fence to enter the area. Once inside, they learn by watching the zombies. Upright zombies are gunned down, but their torsos are free to roam in the shadow of the jungle. Some playtesters believe that while the guns were busy shooting zombies, they would be able to move freely. To counteract this impression, we increased the number of guns from 1 to 3, making it clear that there was always going to be a gun free to shoot the player.
Zombies serve the double purpose of horror and humor. Here, since we knew where the player's view would be, we added a comical scene of a past zombie torso running away from a soldier.
In order to train players that
zombies serve the double purpose of horror and humor. Here, since we knew where the player's view would be, we added a comical scene of a past zombie torso running away from a soldier.
The original design for this sequence involved shutting down the cannon by flipping a switch. That was neither obvious nor rewarding. We decided to let the player blow it up instead, which gave us another opportunity to use our cinematic physics.
Hey Gordon, car's ready. Come on back and we'll get going.
Once we added the onboard radar to the Strider battle at the end of the episode, we needed to train the player in its use well before they reached that area. This garage was already in the game as a place where Alex needed to stay while the player went alone through the autocannon area. It was a perfect fit to have the mechanic rebels add their radar to the car while Gordon was busy somewhere else.
Picks up little beacon jobbers like this one here. We've hidden a bunch of these things out there in the field to signal emergency stashes. So keep an eye out. When you see your dashboard light up, you're gonna want to stop and investigate.
I'll fill you in on the road, Gordon. Thanks again, you guys. The radar's going off, Gordon. Stop the car, Gordon. There's a lot of energy that goes into shaping Alex and making sure she stays on the right path or stays true to the vision that I think we have for her. You know, I want Alex to be liked. I know everybody at Valve wants Alex to be liked. But what is really great is that if I get off course or if I've been in the booth too long and I'm starting to sound a little naggy, then I have somebody who's there to kind of pull me back and say, hey, why don't you try it this way, or I think you're veering off course and starting to sound like on the radar. Like somebody's mother or something, you know, because I'm there to help if you're lost, you know, the get-goings or stuff like that, to help keep the game moving and keep you on track. And, you know, there's a kind of a fine line. You don't want somebody constantly bothering you, but you also want a friendly companion. You know, you want somebody to help you out once in a while. So trying to not go one way or the other was a bit of a trick for us.
I'll keep watch out here if you want to look inside for the cache.
Strong attention to visual design in this room make this unconventional puzzle both intuitive and rewarding. To begin with, the room is sparse, with a reward clearly visible but locked up in the cave. A strange centerpiece draws the player's attention, and the visible switch is obviously a part of the solution. The health charger next to the switch hints that the solution involves getting onto the catwalk rather than activating the switch from the ground.
The van entrance discourages players from bringing in objects they might use to solve the puzzle by stacking. The lone grenade crate is a strong suggestion that
Rocket
grenades
launcher.
figure in the solution.
That'll come in handy.
And finally, the corpse in the rafters and the scorch marks on the ground, and the story they tell, provide the most important clue.
So the circumstances around creating maps were so kismet that it's almost a little scary. Because think of the ideal super self that you want to be. Like, I think this is, I don't know, stuff back. Badass moves and being able to karate chop everybody. And then add on to that, having a rider to make you sound witty at every turn. It's like having an uber self for me. So I immediately fell in love with Alex.
Strong attention.
I'll stay with the car.
The approach to the White Forest Inn contains a number of elements that set the scene for the coming ambush. The road is blocked by combine walls. A soldier spots you in the distance and radios you in, and 2 hunters run across an opening on the far side of a fence. All these clues are there for the attentive player to spot directly, or to create a sense of growing apprehension in the player who might be paying slightly less attention to the details.
So in each episode, we start by agreeing on how to use color choices to create and reinforce the right thematic tone. The tint of a scene can be a powerful source of mood. Episode 1 was pervaded by deep reds. For Episode 2, we made heavy use of blue tints in the outdoor areas. The blue was meant to set an ominous tone, while the warm splashes of sunlight were intended to offer visual contrast that suggests the glimmer of hope.
A question I get asked a lot is, what is the big difference between acting for stage and film and then acting for a video game? Because this is the first time I've ever done a video game. In general, in acting, it's helpful to have a director's clear vision from which to spring. Then the actor can run with the idea, play with it, imagine new things, fill it out, and make it a tangible thing or a tangible character. And the great thing about video game acting for me is that I'm completely unlimited. I'm not bound by what I can do physically or how I look or what kind of environment that can be physically created. So the possibilities are completely limitless. There are no boundaries with this. So when we get together and we talk about what the scene is, when they set the stage for me and what environment I'm going to be in, I immediately get a complete high, and I can only imagine that it is something like how somebody gets when they actually see the game, because it blows my mind, the pictures that they paint about where we are, what situations we're in. So we discussed that a little, and then from there, just kind of go on, I guess, instinct is the only way I can really describe it, because I just take what they give for me and kind of volley it back in the way that it comes out immediately. So I just go into my little dark booth, and I can imagine that I'm anywhere. And it's the best kind of make-believe for a storyteller. When you just aren't limited. Oh, what the... Hey, you with me? This could be Combine handiwork. Hard to be sure. There's so many ways to die out here.
One issue with the number of our encounters with the Combine is they don't live long enough for players to experience some of their more interesting AI. Some unique elements introduced here with respect to the Combine are branching assaults, so the soldiers introduced to the field don't take up predictable positions, flexible assault points, so that soldiers can stray from designer-specified locations to establish line of fire or cover, assault progression, a feedback system so that soldier advances respond to player actions and skill rather than timing, giving soldiers different tactical roles. For instance, squads in the field distract the player, allowing other soldiers to execute surprise moves not present in our typical frontal assault scenarios. The net effect of these changes is that the soldiers appear to have awareness of the layout of the building that you're trapped in, and a strategy for flushing you out.
To complement the Hunter's aggressive AI, the White Forest Inn was designed with a non-linear floor plan. There are multiple ways in and out of each room, as well as alternate routes to the basement and to the second floor.
I wonder how long it's been since anyone
As the player moves through the inn, the Hunters often select a shorter route and surprise the player by arriving first or by heading them off altogether. The last Hunters that enter the building destroy 2 of the doors that have trapped Alex and the player inside. Removing these obstacles opens the entire outdoor arena for combat, allowing the player to choose whether to fight the Hunters within the building or take them on outside.
It's a trap! Gordon, come on, get inside! We're surrounded!
Design is a crafted experience that is controlled but not linear. The encounter is intended to create a heightened sense of danger without actually being particularly dangerous. The idea is to create opportunities for some memorable unscripted combat moments by keeping the player a bit on their heels. Normally, Alex is out of frame during combat and the soldiers don't survive very well. By encouraging the player to move back from the windows, the map creates space for Alex and the soldiers to exhibit interesting behaviors that reinforce the mood of the siege.
get moving before they send more. Well, let's find the power supply for this force field. The wire runs back up the hill to those buildings. Let's check those sheds at the top of the hill. Take that turret down, Gordon. I can't go in there till the turret's out of commission. Disable that turret, then I can work on shutting down the force field. For the shields. Huh. They haven't skimped on security either. Let me see if I can disable the shields and get you closer to the reactor. Okay, it looks like I can open them from here, but I won't be able to come in with you. Here goes. Sorry, Gordon. This thing's fried. Since I can't help you in there, while you disable the power cell. We've had enough surprises for one day. Field's down.
Sometimes, even in an action game, it can be hard to convince players to act like an action movie hero. Here we wanted the player to make a 150-foot turbo jump off the edge of the road and crash into boxes at the bottom. Instead, worried playtesters routinely took the safe way down. To encourage more recklessly heroic behavior, we disguised the easy path and added obvious ramps to clearly communicate this was a legitimate feature of the level.
As I'm sure a lot of people know, I perform on Broadway, and sometimes people will show up at the stage door with Alex Vance posters to sign, or just an encouraging word about the game, and just, oh my gosh, I saw in the playbill that you played Alex Vance, and it gets me so hyped when people come up to me and are excited about the game, because I don't get that immediate feedback that I get on stage every night. So when somebody tells me that they liked it face to face, it's really, really exciting to me. But so I guess a couple of people have taken pictures with me at the stage door. And I went through a phase where I wanted to know what people thought of the game. So I was looking on like message boards and checking out what the chat was. And I found this thread that had a picture of me with somebody at the stage door. And they're talking about, look, this is me with Alex Vance. And the first response was, she is so ugly. I thought that was cute.
Major fracture detected. Automatic medical systems engaged. Morphine administered.
In the source engine, we use a realistic radiosity lighting simulator to generate lighting detail for the geometry in our game worlds. In previous games using the source engine, shadows were simulated as if cast by totally opaque objects. In Episode 2, we needed to render large wooded areas, which required us to modify our shadowing technology to account for the sparse, semi-transparent nature of foliage. With these upgrades to our radiosity lighting simulator, we are now able to realistically illuminate the trees themselves, as well as generate soft, semi-transparent shadows on the environment around them.
Over there! I see an antenna. I think that's White Forest. Well, we're close enough to make it the rest of the way on foot if we have to.
Our main goal with this scene was to create a cinematic battle of the Titans, dog versus a strider. While we were excited with the earlier implementations, it became obvious that players were uncertain of their role in the scene. Originally, the confrontation built slowly, with dogs squaring off against the strider. But having such a slow beginning proved fine. It looked great in the trailer, but didn't play well in the game. Instead of the slow build, we decided to send Dog straight into action. He makes a grand entrance, jumps on the strider, and the fight is on. The quick start helps to grab the player's attention instead of giving them too much time to worry about what they ought to do.
The Strider has big parts of him that rip off. He spews goo everywhere. He's a great testbed for new modeling technology and our new particle system. We custom built him just for this sequence. With our episodic process, a lot of new technology comes online throughout development. Since any new technology takes a year or more to really work out all the bugs, we like to look for isolated areas, like this one, where we can test out new things without risking all the things we know already work. We did this with HDR in our Lost Coast demos. Once we're sure we didn't break anything, we can move the features back into general use. Since the Strider worked out really well here, he'll be the new Strider as we move forward, and we'll be applying what we've learned to any new monsters in Episode 3.
Alex's robot dog is cobbled together from spare parts, all of which are in various states of disrepair. For Episode 2, we chose to use shading techniques to improve the look of Dog and better convey his scrapyard origins. Along with upgrades to Dog's texture maps, his shader now uses a combination of Phong shading and environment mapping to increase the apparent detail and diversity of materials, from rusty bolts to the damaged metal flaps salvaged from a Combine scanner.
Come on, Gordon. Get the car and we'll challenge Dog to a race. Good boy.
Racing Dog to the base was not a preconceived plan. It was born out of testing the level over and over, and repeatedly trying to keep up with Dog as he ran to the base. This was sufficiently fun for us that we began to figure out ways to encourage players to do it too.
Way to go, boy! Okay, Dog. Race you to the base. Step on it, Gordon. So, a really cool experience was that while I was at Valve, I was talking to one of the animators in the hallway, and we were just carrying on a conversation. I was getting to know what he did, and I just happened to be looking over my shoulder and noticed that people kept popping their heads out of their offices. I was never so glad to see you, believe me.
One of the other guys noted to me that these people,
we made it. Save the last.
bless them, they have to sit around and listen to my voice all day long. So for that voice to be kind of just chatting in the hallway was a little weird. And I guess I kind of liken that. I can understand it because the very first time I saw my voice on Alex Vance's face, it was so bizarre. And so when I watch people talk to me for the first time and they've heard my voice as Alex and they have the exact same expression, I'm like, I understand. I get it.
Too.
Alex! Dr. Freeman, you made it.
Hey! Boy, are we glad to be here.
Yeah, we heard you ran into a little trouble out there. Combine's been trying to head in the front door. I think they learned their lesson. You mind if we keep dog patrolling out here?
Not at all. You heard him, Dog. I'm gonna go see Dad. I'll catch up to you later. Take care of yourself.
No time now, Doc.
Go on without us. We got stuff to do.
I don't think Eli knows you're here yet. He's in Silo 1 access unit, right through here. You feel it?
Shall we?
I feel it. You smell it?
I don't feel anything anymore.
You and me
talking to me?
What now?
Oh no, what's that?
Well, now what?
All right, back to work, everyone. It's just another false alarm in the secondary silos.
Take a walk.
Same old Dr. Magnusson.
So, you ever used an AR-2 before?
AR-2? No. Now, an AR-3, sure. Plenty of times.
There is no such thing as an AR-3.
Well, see, in the city, the place was lousy with AR-3s.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No, it was. So do you know what the alternative fire method does on the AR-2? It kills hunters. How did you city folk kill hunters?
We sure as hell didn't use guns. We would just wrestle hunters to the ground with our bare hands. I used to kill 10, 20 a day, just using my fists.
Oh, so when you're out in the field, you're gonna be punching hunters?
In the field? I'm not going out in the field. I'm a radio operator.
That's it. Leave. You don't need to be here, and I'm not gonna continue the lesson until you leave.
I'm staying right here.
I am serious. Leave.
In sketching out the scenes for the episode, we noticed a lack of interpersonal conflict between the characters who had survived from Half-Life 2. Alex, Eli, and Dr. Kleiner have a lot of affection for one another, as you will see in many of the scenes. So while we all value the benefit of strong, positive relationships, we were happy to have Dr. Magnusson around to get irritated by all the hugging.
Yeah? We make a pretty good team.
It means a lot to me to have multi-ethnic heroine. When I was growing up, that didn't happen a whole lot. I mean, maybe Storm from X-Men, I don't know. But it wasn't commonplace. So to have someone that's my type be in that kind of position is really, really amazing. I mean, I think it's a popular trend now, but that wasn't always the case.
Really? I'm fine. Where's Dr. Kleiner? We should get this data to him right away.
Okay. Yes.
Hey, Doc.
Hey! I was watching that.
For a chance to get out of the silo. This way, Gordon. The way he and Magnusson have been going at it, you'd think they were still competing for grant money.
Some things never change. Do we have any idea how long until the super portal's active?
We don't know for certain. We're keeping an eye on it.
And what about the Combine? Will we be able to launch before they attack?
It's gonna be close. All it would take is one Strider to destroy our rocket. But we're ready for him.
I'm sorry we couldn't get here any sooner, Dad.
Don't worry, sweetheart. We're gonna make it. I'm just so glad to have you back.
I'm glad to be back.
The last thing on my mind was submitting it for the Kleiner certificate of approval. The troubles behind it were the result of staffing and supply deficiencies. And your cranial conjugal parasite away from my nose cone!
Now listen here, Magnusson. There's no call for hurtful comments.
Due to the number of characters involved in this scene and the cramped spaces, we found that the actors were constantly pushing the player around in order to get to their marks. We developed some tech that allowed the actors to gauge the position of the player and the other actors, and choose among the selection of marks. This not only solved the congestion problem, but made scenes feel more dynamic.
They're inseparable.
Dr. Magnusson was the result of a decision to bring forward another signature character from the original Half-Life, along the lines of Dr. Kleiner and Barney. As we developed the character, we kept referring back to this line from Half-Life to keep us on track.
Gordon doesn't need to hear all this. He's a highly trained professional. We've assured the administrator that nothing will go wrong.
Though we liked the character who came into focus, we found that this voice was sounding too much like a caricature for our increasingly grim and realistic world. We like to hire actors with the natural voices that we want for our characters, as opposed to hiring actors to create voice characterizations.
We've got a ton of data.
In John Aylward, we found someone who could deliver the brusque arrogance of the original lines, and also take the character forward into some of the richer and subtler opportunities we foresee for him.
If you listened closely to the Vortigaunts in the Antland tunnels, you may have heard one of them using a complaint very similar to Dr. Magnusson's here. Their affinity to Dr. Magnusson has caused some of his mannerisms to spread among them by way of their low-grade telepathy.
Anyone? False alarms all day. Damn crows have been nesting in the tracks. I do not know how I am supposed to concentrate with all of this racket. Freeman, you're not doing anything. Make yourself useful and find out what the hell is going on in there.
Yes. Gordon, if you don't mind, I'd feel better if you had a look.
Catch up with us when you're done.
Freeman! The blast doors will have sealed due to the alert, so you'll have to go through the bottom of the launch tube. I'll open this hatch to let you down. Now, once you're down there, I'll have Uriah let you into the secondary silo.
Rather than just make up something that would fit our fantasies of a rocket, we designed Dr. Magnusson's rocket around blueprints from the Titan family of missiles. Grounding the details of our world in reality, making them as precise as possible, makes the invented, fantastic elements seem that much more believable.
Attention personnel, this is Dr. Magnusson. Since the secondary silo staff seem incapable of solving their little crow problem, you will be happy to hear we have put the popular Dr. Freeman on the job. We all look forward to his remedy, and I look forward to hearing
We
the
intended
staff's
White Forest to offer a change of
for why
pace
they
from the
couldn't
constant
handle
action
it
that preceded it. A few moments to reunite with old friends and get to know Dr. Magnusson. A breather before the big battle ahead. However, our first version of the sequence was a logjam of long, talky scenes. Gordon and Alex stood around listening to Kleiner and Magnusson argue at the top of the silo, then rode an elevator to the bottom of the shaft while Dr. Kleiner lectured them about rockets and satellites. They wandered into a control room to watch Dr. Mossman's transmission, and then hatched a plan to get her back. We knew we were in trouble when even the authors of the scene were bored, and no one had the patience for the revelations that followed. We divided the sequence into a number of smaller pieces that could be interleaved with solitary exploration and some combat. This required rebuilding the path and moving the control room upstairs, where the transmission scene became a reward for surviving the secondary silo. As a result of these changes, the White Forest experience is more varied, the narrative comes in digestible portions, and the players are able to play at their own speed, rather than being led by the nose the entire time.
This steam jet is an example of something we call a mechanic refresher. It's meant to refresh the player's memory on how to perform a certain task they may not have used in a while. In this case, we remind the player about using valves to turn off steam in a relaxed environment. In the map just ahead, this trick will be fresh in their mind, and they'll be far more likely to realize they can use steam jets tactically when they encounter them in a combat situation.
In Half-Life 2, when we first decided to make Vortigaunt ally characters, we played around with having a prominent Vortigaunt companion. Because of their bowed posture and semi-servile manner, this individual was dubbed Heap, after Dickens' character Uriah Heep. In Episode 2, we named the prominent Vort at White Forest Base Uriah. In Episode 3, we'll find out Dickens' unused middle name for Uriah Heep.
Originally created as a minor background character, the Vortigaunt lab assistant, known internally as Labby, was so popular with playtesters that he evolved into a fully developed character with a unique name and a special place by Dr. Magnusson's side.
For God's sake, Freeman, what is taking you so long? Oh, I cannot concentrate with all of this racket. These feathered fiends are the most persistent I have ever... Wait, what is this? We are experiencing a breach of internal base defense. Please bear with us while we pinpoint the location of the breach.
One of the main goals for Hunters was to make the player feel he was vulnerable wherever he might hide. This arena in the secondary silo became our test bed for improving the Hunter's close combat behavior. A classic combat space, featuring multiple exits and many possible paths, we tuned it for a strong cat-and-mouse gameplay experience. While players have many options for escape, the map is designed so that Hunters will never completely lose them, but always be able to pursue and flush the player out of hiding.
Level designers and artists now have the ability to create unique effects as needed, for gameplay or to add dynamic life to a level. In this case, this simple water leak wouldn't have been possible before without involving a programmer to create a new class of effect. Thanks to the new particle system, unique effects like this are easily created as needed, without any programming. This leak adds a visual point of interest to the area, and also blocks direct line of sight into the nearby corridor, without blocking the space itself. These effects can be placed and controlled within levels, attached to animation events of characters, or called by code. Allowing particles to be attached to objects in the world, emitted from a model's hitboxes, and locked to bone positions allows them to serve a wide variety of functions, such as the new Vortigaunt beams or the burning effect of a zombie. We hope this feature will allow level and mod authors to create a wide variety of effects quickly and easily to suit their purposes.
Freeman, I repeat, there has been a breach of the secondary silo by way of the overhead launch doors. I will trust you to seal the silo doors.
Glad that's over. We couldn't get in till you sealed off the silo when the blast doors opened up.
Regrettably true.
I better let my dad know you're all right. Dad?
Is everything okay? Is Gordon all right?
Yes, he's fine. And thanks to him, the base is secure.
Good, good. We're about to watch the transmission from Judas.
We'll head right over.
The Freeman must follow. If you would take the Freeman from here, I can return to my place of honor at the side of the Magnusson.
Sure thing. Thanks for the help. Dr. Kleiner told me that Judith headed north in a helicopter right after they got here. But he wouldn't tell me why.
I'm fairly sure I've pinned down the location of the project. It's hard to say how much of it might have survived intact or whether there's
So a lot of
anything
times
remaining
we'll
beyond
try a line in
discovered
several
by the
different
Combine.
ways,
We'll need to
like
take a
set a
close
different
look at it,
mood
of
for a
course,
different
but I
scene,
should
or
be
maybe
able to give
just
a better
maybe just do a
opinion
different
within a
take
few
on a
hours.
line.
If the site is where we think
Like
it is,
one
then
might be,
you know
it sounds trite, but you
cut
know,
it short. We
one
made this
excited,
fun.
one not so excited, or one a little more pensive and thoughtful. Or suggestions are always thrown out there for new reads, and It's the coolest kind of teamwork. It's not just, here's your script, go. It's
something else.
Let's work this out. Let's find the best middle ground. And everything is always pliable. You know, if it's not working, maybe we'll go back and do an instant rewrite or something. And for me, that's creative heaven.
Oh yes,
absolutely.
quite real, despite its almost
Aperture Science, being specialized in the development of portal technology, fit naturally into the cosmology of Half-Life. Rather than forcing Portal into the Half-Life franchise, we used it as an opportunity to make our world bigger. By suggesting a long-term rivalry between Aperture Science and Black Mesa, we opened up possibilities in both games that didn't exist when they were separate
and
entities.
even part of the dry dock. Few believed the Borealis would ever be seen again.
It should have been lost forever.
Ah, but now that we've found it, we can use it against the Combine.
Did you use it? That thing has to be destroyed.
But think of the advantage for humanity. We can't simply waste all that potential.
Has Black Mesa taught you anything? There's no controlling that kind of power.
Well, yes. There's always a risk, Eli. But my goodness, we have coordinates, blueprints, hailing frequencies. Quite ingenious of Dr. Mossman to hide it all in the carrier wave.
Well, that means she's still alive up there. But as a Combine catcher, he'll tear out everything she knows. There'll be nothing left of her.
But we don't know for sure
I won't
that...
take that chance. I'm going after her.
Now, Eli, the only thing worse than Judith falling into their hands would be if they should get a hold of you. She may know the particulars of the Borealis, but you know everything about the Resistance.
Listen to Dr. Kleiner, Dad. Gordon and I are more than able to handle this. We'll get her back.
Kleiner, where are you? Why isn't the decoding finished?
Oh, fine. The code. Yes, Magnusson. It just needs a little bit longer.
If you're waiting for the Combine's go-ahead, they'll soon be here to give it to you in person.
I'll hurry it along, Magnusson. I'll be back as soon as I finish.
Dad, are you okay?
No, I can't let it happen again. Not another Black Mesa.
Dad, prepare for unforeseen consequences.
What did you say?
Dad! Okay. It's okay. Just lean into me. Let's get you off your feet.
Thank you, baby. I'll be fine in a minute or two.
Okay. Do you need anything?
Actually, Alex, would you mind getting me a cup of tea? There's a hot plate in the old staff room.
I'll be right back. Gordon, just keep an eye on him.
We're not going anywhere. Thank you, baby. Unforeseen consequences. The last time I heard those words was back at Black Mesa. You had just stepped into the test chamber when he whispered them in my ear. You know who I'm talking about. Our mutual friend. When he brought in that crystal, I knew I should have aborted that damn test, but I didn't. The whole world went to hell that day. And now he's using my little girl, putting words in her mouth. God damn it. I should have known when he rescued her it was for his own damn reasons. Gordon, there's so much I need to tell you. Between us, we may finally have a chance of,
Here you go. Is everything all right?
There's nothing, honey.
All right, people, change of plans. There is no way we can launch before those Striders are... Oh, excuse me if I'm interrupting tea time. I'll just step out until you've finished, if that's more convenient.
All right, honey.
Well, Freeman. Well, Freeman, I believe I've found the perfect use for you. Follow me, quickly.
We'll talk later.
Freeman, Striders are coming. A single one of those damn things could shoot down our
This
rocket.
whiteboard art went through several iterations, from highly stylized to absurd, through to something we believe we could ship.
Therefore, I'm putting defense of White Forest.
The Strider Buster, or Magnusson device, started life as a Half-Life 2 weapon called the Hopwire. This was a weapon that would leap into the air and create physical connections via ropes to the surfaces around it. Once attached, the ball would be suspended in the air, ready for action. We never shipped that weapon because it wasn't generally usable enough in our environments, especially outdoors. One side experiment created the black hole Hopwire that the mod community found in Episode 1's code. You can still find videos of this in action on YouTube. The black hole version created a true physical vortex that sucked anything near it into an incredibly dense singularity. This created a small dense block comprised of all the mass and matter the vortex had collected, which the player could then pick up and hurl at enemies. We returned to the Hopwire for Episode 2, where we thought we could use it to tie the Strider's legs together and make it trip. But the mechanic of hurling and attaching the Strider Buster was more fun for players, so we moved the weapon in that direction.
Now, out in the field, we'll supply you with all the Magnusson devices you need through delivery ports like this one.
For the safety of the base, these devices are deactivated. They cannot explode like those you will find in the field.
Go ahead and take the device. That's right. Now toss it at the main body of the Strider. There you go. Not too difficult at this range, is it? Gets a bit harder when it's moving about and firing at you. Now, let's move on to a more challenging task. Uriah, send the target to the far end of the rail. Very well. Try it now. Magnificent device, isn't it? I'll be right over here when you are ready to head up.
Fans of Half-Life 1 may remember a gag involving a microwave oven in the Black Mesa lunchroom. If you push the microwave button several times, the casserole inside it explodes. A memorable experience for many first-time players of Half-Life. In Episode 2, we thought it was finally time to let you know whose lunch you had ruined, and give you a chance at redemption.
I must get back to my rocket, Freeman. I'm relying on you not to squander my trust, or my Magnussons. Oh, and Freeman, if you pull this off, I might just forgive you for that debacle at Black Mesa. You know the one I mean, involving a certain microwave casserole.
Dr. Freeman, over here. Taking a few liberties with your car.
We wanted players to use the car as much as possible, both to move around the valley quickly, and to run over the hunters as a quick and satisfying way of killing them. To encourage this, and to help with orientation problems, we added radar to the car, which indicated the location of enemies. This made the car a more valuable tool in the battle, and solved the navigation problem once and for all.
One problem we faced in this map was that players would abandon their car in the heat of battle and not be able to find it later. Given the time pressure and large scale of the map, some of these players couldn't succeed in protecting the base on foot. To address this, we started by adding flashing hazard lights to the car, which helped when the car was in view, but we still saw players lose the car among the trees or behind hills. Eventually, we added a vehicle locator to the player's HEV suit, so players could find the car wherever it was.
You'll find the sawmill at the far end of the valley.
Perimeter's clear.
To create a climactic finish to this level, we ramped up strider density and citizen presence, and then systematically destroyed outer installations in order to move the action as uncomfortably close to the base as possible. It was important to us that everybody be able to play to the end of the episode, but we also wanted them to feel that defeating the striders required a heroic effort. A balance had to be achieved between the feeling of being overwhelmed and the possibility of completing the level. We made many trade-offs to keep the experience enjoyable while keeping the intensity high, and sometimes this required removing enemies. For example, elite Combine soldiers originally took part in this invasion, running in and around the striders and hunters, but this additional level of enemy fire proved frustrating for players, and so they were removed.
We made some small changes to our autosave system as a result of tuning the final strider battle. Autosaves are the periodic checkpoints where we can restart the player's game after death, so that they don't have to worry about replaying more of the game than necessary. In playtests, we observed that most players depended on our autosaves to restart after dying, rather than using their own quick saves. But because the fight allowed players so much freedom, some players ended up with an autosave that left them in a no-win situation. Low on health and pinned down by hunters, or too far from the base to defend the rocket in time, some players failed 30 or more times before finally giving up. To address the no-win situation, we extended our autosave system to monitor health over time, and to only perform the autosave if the player was deemed safe for a reasonable period of time. We also prohibited autosaves when striders were within a certain distance of the base. This ensured there was always enough time to defeat them.
Before we create any final art, we use placeholders to see if the gameplay is working, and to figure out the proper dimensions and shapes for the model. In this level, we used an old pumpkin model as the placeholder for the Magnusson device. After we decided that the gameplay was fun and the pumpkin worked well, a proper model was created using the pumpkin as a template.
The massive strider battle was in production longer than any other map in the episode. Tuning it required many months of testing and iteration to address playtester feedback, and this was complicated by the fact that every time we playtested, we saw individuals adopt completely different approaches to defeating the striders. Some threw logs at the hunters, others relied on their rebel companions to kill them. Some players never sprinted, while others never used the car. We tried to keep supporting all the different strategies that occurred to players so that their experiments with tactics would be rewarding rather than frustrating. Meanwhile, we had to make sure the strider and hunter behaviors were consistent and balance the experience so that it would be great for all different playstyles at every skill level.
Players under pressure can overlook basic tasks, so we try to make the important ones foolproof. On this map, players often forget to check their health level, but rarely forget to seek out Magnusson devices. We narrowed doorways and set health supply racks right by the entries, so that players rushing in to get explosives would find themselves automatically picking up vital supplies.
The sawmill is that way. They're expecting you.
The hunter's escort behavior includes specific formations and flanking strategies. This environment was designed specifically to enhance those behaviors by providing cover and visually interesting paths. In this way, the environment reinforces the design of the hunter as stealthy, aggressive, and intelligent.
Many players had a hard time orienting themselves in the valley. Before the fight, we send players to the sawmill without telling them how to get there. This was a way of familiarizing them with the map without any time pressure. Still, the size and nonlinearity of the map was confusing for first-time players once the battle began. The loudspeaker announcements that direct players to incoming striders initially referred to compass directions, which most players couldn't follow because they couldn't remember which way was north. We added White Forest Peak as a global landmark and distinctive local landmarks like the cranes and the water tower, and referred to those landmarks in the announcements instead of compass directions. This helped, but some players still had a hard time knowing which way to go at any given moment. Our ultimate solution was the car's radar, which, along with the landmarks, helps players go where the action is.
Episode 2's rocket defense battle was the largest and most non-linear combat experience we had built. It was also the first combat we created that required the use of a vehicle to move from battle to battle. Our design goal was to give players a broad directive, protect the rocket from incoming striders, and let them decide how to accomplish that. Playtesting revealed a number of challenges that we had to overcome, as the free-form nature of the map led to huge variation in success for different players. Small differences in skill or tactics radically changed the difficulty of the experience for players. In response, we had to continually tune all aspects of the experience to support the wide variety of tactics and skill levels demonstrated in playtests.
Oh boy, here we go. Everyone ready?
Hunters are traveling with the Striders. They're working in packs. Now we have a Strider coming in from the water tower.
We'll keep this place stocked with help.
Coming from the cranes. Keep up the good work. Only a few Striders left. Another Strider coming in towards what used to be the sawmill.
goes into making sure players see the buildings get destroyed as you travel around the valley in the final battle. While we cannot and do not wish to force the player to see these events, we try to increase the odds that the player would end up in the best possible position for the show. Measures range from simply hiding a strider behind rocks to setting up complex logic conditions that must be met in order for the destruction to occur.
are not done yet. Another Strider was just spotted at the sawmill. One more at the crane. Attention! Attention! The Striders have been defeated! All personnel return to base immediately! Repeat! All personnel return to base immediately!
Hey! Gordon Freeman!
Good job, Gordon!
Wow! Thanks, Freeman! Good going!
Wow, Gordon. You were amazing out
One
there.
problem we faced.
Come on. Is in its final stages. The portal's close to opening, but Dr. Magnusson sure will be in time to stop it.
Complete. Tracking beacon. Oh, there's another bit of support equipment power down. Hold on a moment, Kleiner. Ah, Freeman. Well, I see the Magnusson device performed flawlessly. I feel compelled to thank you personally for saving my rocket. So, thank you. That's enough chit-chat. I've got a rocket to launch.
It constantly amazes me how many people are involved in creating her, because everyone who is involved seems to have the same vision for her. And for so many people to have one mind about a character, it blows my mind. I mean,
Very rarely do I get a piece of direction or script that doesn't ring true to how I feel about Alex and vice versa. And strangely enough, as soon as I try something out and something doesn't ring true, I'm usually not the first person to say it, even though I might be feeling it, somebody else will say it. And it's just, I guess, a testament to how in tune everybody is about what kind of person Alex is and what she would do, what she wouldn't do, and, you know, what kind of girl she is.
Hell of a job you did out there, son.
The launch of Magnusson's rocket ties directly into the rocket Gordon launched at Black Mesa. Here, the portal satellite array that opened the gate to Zen in Half-Life 1 has been repurposed to shut the Combine out. This is just another example of the way we constantly try to weave the old threads of the Half-Life story into the new episodes.
I believe Gordon should have the honor.
You'll hear no objection from me.
It's all yours, Gordon.
Minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah!
We did it!
Wow. We sure did.
Yes!
Fantastic.
Ah. Too right. The clock is ticking.
It is going to work, right?
It has to.
Once the rocket is in range of the portal, we'll be able to switch on the xenium resonator.
Well, let's get outside. I'd like a better view of the fireworks.
There should be quite a show. Regrettably, I can't come out with you. Magnusson and I will need to keep a close eye on the rocket's trajectory.
Aren't you going to see us off?
Just as soon as this is wrapped up. I wouldn't dream of letting you go without a proper goodbye.
Okay, I'll hold you to that. You too, Dr. Magnusson.
We'll catch up with you in a moment, sweetheart. Gordon, hold up a second.
There you are.
The more I think about that warning from our friend, the more I'm convinced it has to do with Borealis. Don't be deceived. That ship must never be used. You have got to destroy it, whatever the cost.
Where are you two? You're gonna miss it.
Be right there, Alex. Gordon, thanks for everything you've done. For Alex, for all of us. I couldn't be prouder if you were my own son. Now, when you get back, we've got a lot to talk about.
Come on!
Episode 2's backgrounds or vistas are created in a manner that fuses traditional 2D animation techniques, using linear cards moving against each other to imply parallax, and a modern digital take which involves placing these cards in a 3D environment and manipulating their size and distance from camera depending on the scale needed. A series of cards can sit in front of a 3D skybox, and with the addition of atmosphere or fog, a realistic result can be achieved.
We did it! We did it, Gordon!
We sure as hell did, and not a moment too soon.
No, Magnusson. I'll bet the Combine aren't too happy right now.
You got that right, sweetheart. But we've got plenty to celebrate. I wish you didn't have to head off so soon. If only it weren't so critical.
It's okay, Dad. We'll find Judith and bring her back. Dog? Hey, where are you? What a nut. Don't go too far.
Developing the Half-Life episodes allows us to steadily flesh out the details in an ongoing cosmic struggle. Most of this conflict remains far in the background, but little by little, we are able to bring new elements up front.
Don't worry, Dad.
One of our goals for Episode 2 was to fully develop the grub-like advisors first glimpsed in Half-Life 2. In Episode 1, they made several brief appearances but have no direct effect on the events in the game. In Episode 2, we deliberated on how soon to show them becoming active, and decided to pull back the veil in stages.
Therefore, we first see them being hauled around by Combine troops, completely passive. Next, we see one waking up from incubation, still somewhat groggy, and beginning to discover its power. But by the end of the episode, the advisors come fully into their own, front and center, as characters with a huge impact on the story.
To create the Eli death sequence, we talked it through in great detail, wrote up an outline with all the events we discussed, and then produced an animatic. We used rough sketches painted over screenshots and a variety of crude special effects and sounds to create a quick pre-visualization of how the scene would play out. Not only did this help us to converge on a shared vision for the scene, but by working rough, we were able to quickly iterate until we had a design worth implementing in the game.
The decision to kill Eli was not made lightly, and once we'd made it, we had to figure out how to make it meaningful. We'd already established Eli's frailty as well as his importance to the Resistance and Alex's devotion to him, so from a narrative point of view, the impact of his death seemed obvious. The hard part would be the execution. The advisor's ability to immobilize the player gave us a way to stage the scene. Then the animations and the sound design made it believable. But none of this would have been enough without inspired performances by Merle Dandridge and Robert Guillaume.
This final episode 2 scene was unbelievable. Before we even started working on it, the team sat me down and they kind of did a little show and tell of the rough animation that they had. And I think they were hesitant to show it to me, but just from that rough animation, I was so moved. I mean, just immediately moved to tears. I felt like I'd just been gut punched, and I immediately felt it. I immediately felt it. I was like, let's go. Let's get on this. So it shouldn't surprise me. It shouldn't surprise me by now, because I've been working on Alex for so long now. But every time we come to the table to do a new scene or lay down some new material, I am always blown away. And this scene was just the epitome of that feeling. I was so pumped to get in there and start working on it. And they're always upping the ante and always taking it to the next level. But this time, this scene is different. Because this time, Alex loses.
I love you, Dad! No! Oh
and I think this is I don't think, it is a major sacrifice.
Gordon!
You see her carrying around the wounds of her mother that she lost, but her dad made her who she is. Her dad taught her, her dad groomed her, and I think, most importantly, he loved her. And
Dad, please.
This script was a gift and a gut punch all in one. I don't know. When you give me something like that, it really motivates me to kind of try to knock it out of the ballpark. I love playing Alex, and I have to say it's definitely my favorite acting job I've ever had, hands down.